Let's talk about bridges and waterfall charts. A waterfall chart is a visual and analytical tool in Excel that helps you to see the key variance drivers or changes between two or more financial scenarios. Let's take a look. We are now looking at actuals for our fiscal year 2023 for our fictional company. So these are revenue actuals by country or region, showing the actuals as compared to the previous forecast. So let's go ahead and give this a little bit of treatment here. Gonna make this dark blue, a little bit of white. Great. And then these country names here. Let's indent this. So hit Alt H6. Perfect. All right, so it's already starting to look a little better. Next, let's go ahead and add some variances. So we're going to add a variance and a variance percentage. Let's go ahead and copy over this formatting from this column. So we're going to say Control Alt V for pay special, hit T for formats. Okay. Beautiful. All right. For variance, we're going to say equals previous forecast. I'm sorry. Actual minus previous forecast. Great. All right. And for variance, we're going to say equals the variance divided by the previous forecast. Go ahead and make that a percentage. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and select these two items. Double click here in the bottom corner. Drag it down. Great. Now we can just drag this across, select, and then hit Control R to fill right. Then the last thing we need to do is just change this to percentage. One more thing, actually. Copy this formula down, Control paste special formulas, hit OK. Great. So now we're showing actuals versus forecast. And this is what we're going to use to create our bridge. So the first thing we're going to do is create a little table bridge. So we're going to start here at the top. We're going to say total revenue forecast. And it's going to be for fiscal year 23. So let's give it a little treatment. I'm going to copy this formatting, Control Alt V for pay special, T for formats, hit OK. All right. So our total revenue forecast is going to be equal to this cell here, E22. I'm going to hit F4 to anchor it. Great. Now the next thing we're going to do is bring in a few of these country names that are driving the variances, but we don't want to look at all 12 countries here. We only want to look at 4 or 5 lines in our bridge. So let's go ahead and select the biggest ones from a dollar perspective. So right off the bat, you can see UK is driving a big variance, as is Germany, France. Italy is driving a large variance from a percentage perspective, but let's not add Italy, and let's go ahead and add Brazil because that one's pretty large as well. So we're going to add Brazil, and we've already got 4 lines here, and we only wanted to show 4 or 5. So let's go ahead and make the rest all other. And then finally here, we're going to have actual revenue. Great. So I'm going to bold this line and this line. And then these country names, let's go ahead and indent them to make this look a little better. So go ahead and hit Control H. I'm sorry, Alt H. And then 6. Beautiful. All right. So we know our starting point is 53.197 million. And our ending point is the actual revenue of equals 47.878 million. enter. Oops. All right. Now, the next thing we need to do is bring in the variances for each of these countries, essentially the variance drivers. So let's go ahead and add a quick index match here. And I did this pretty quickly, but I'll create a separate video highlighting exactly how to do the index match and breaking it down in further detail. All right, so we've got the UK variance here. Let's go ahead and copy these all the way down to Brazil. So highlight, hit Control D for fill down. Perfect. And now the last thing we need to fill in is all other. This is essentially going to be the squeeze or the plug. So all we need to do is say equals the actual revenue minus the sum of everything else. There we go. Great. Again, add a little border here. And there we go. We've got a little revenue bridge in table format. Sometimes you might have a boss that likes to look at bridges in just a simple table like this one. Or you might have a boss that likes to look at a waterfall chart, which is essentially another type of bridge, but it's more visual and I'd say generally better. So let's go ahead and create that. So we're going to select this entire table and go up to Insert. Click this little Recommended Charts button. Go to All Charts. And you're going to go down here to Waterfall. Click OK. All right. So already it's starting to look pretty good. The chart title, let's call this Actual Revenue versus Forecast. All right. So total revenue here at the beginning is already starting where it needs to. But you'll notice over here, this one's kind of floating up here in the air. But this is also a total. The actual revenue is a total. So you need to click it and then right click and say set as total. Great. So right off the bat, we can see in bridge format that our starting point for our revenue forecast of 53.197 million is being driven by these variances here of UK, Germany, France, and Brazil, and ultimately led us to actual revenue of 47.878 million. Let's make this a little bigger. You can hide that table now. Okay, great. Now, if you wanted to continue to change the formatting on this, you could. You could get rid of lines. You can change these colors. Really whatever you prefer. But this is essentially how you create a bridge or a waterfall chart. And once you have down the basics, then you can really take off and start creating all kinds of bridges. All right. Any questions, please let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching. Talk soon.